It's raining outside, but I want to get something done. So I'm going to get stuck into the interior of my Excel. There's a job I'd like to do so that I can get the interior tidied up, painted, and just so that this thing doesn't look quite so third world country. I want to get some of this disgusting, stained, horrible, sound deadening matting up off of the floor, that's all over this interior, and make the whole car look the duck's nuts. A popular method for getting the sound deadening out of the interior of the car is to freeze it with dry ice, bash it with a hammer, and it all becomes brittle and breaks away. But I live a couple of hours away from the nearest metropolitan area, and there's no local supplier of dry ice in Pemberton. So I've pinched my dad's heat gun and I'm going to do the heat gun method. Got the heat gun, safety glasses, I got a swag of different scrapers of various grades of rust, a pair of gloves so the molten sound deadening material doesn't stick to my precious pinky, and a wire brush for keeping myself looking fabulous. Much better. That has worked. Shush! That has worked surprisingly well. This whole section down here. And it was quicker than I thought too. A bit of heat and the scraper actually did a really thorough job. There's still plenty of tar residue left to get off, but I've had a lot of experience with getting tar off of cars, so that doesn't faze me in the slightest. It's been a good day out here. Wasn't as wet as we'd first thought, and I've got quite a lot done in the car, taking the sound deadening off the floor. And so far, a nice big reusable bag full of excess weight that we can get rid of from out of this car now. Still plenty to do though. It's another day and back in the Excel to do some more of the sound deadening. It's several days later And this is why I have chosen to go for the heat gun method rather than to use the dry ice. This being my hobby, I get to do it on spare half an hour here and there, evenings, some weekends, in between running a business, being a dad, cooking occasionally. Every now and again I help out with the dishes. Probably not as much as I should. And yeah, if I'd have gone out and bought a whole big tub of dry ice to try and do this whole thing all in one job, there's a good chance I would have gotten called off for home duties and may have ultimately have had to have purchased the dry ice twice. This way, I can just pop this heat gun down at any point, come back to it later that day, the next day. I think it's about a week later this time. The other good thing about using the heat gun is that if you just want to down tools and come to the pub with your wife for lunch, you can do that too. Make sure you got the door open to ventilate this, otherwise it'll make you completely nuts. It's too late for me. After dinner time and I'm back to do a little more. I've now taken all of the sound deadening material out of the little Excel race car, using the heat gun over the course of a few weeks, doing little bits at a time when I had the time to do it. Now, of course, what's left behind is the residue of that tar matting that they use, and I'm going to break into my car detailing suppliers and use the good old Tardis. It is a tar and glue remover from AutoSmart. I will most certainly need the old safety glasses and a pair of the trusty gloves. It's just going to be applied with a spray bottle. Spray it on, wipe it off. You want to see how good this stuff is? Check this out. It literally just melts the tar. Sit here and wait, wipe it off with a cloth. It's pretty much that easy. I like it. But while I wait for that, check this out. This did you get that? This that's the bag of sound deadening material that came out. Where'd that bit go? So it's essentially, this was a satisfying big chunk to get off. Most of it comes off in little tiny pieces like this with the heat gun. It's basically just a tar mat. So, and yeah, there's a lot of it in here. That's what, a couple of minutes of it sitting with the Tardis, just letting it dissolve the bits of tar that are there. Just an old cloth, rags, because you're going to have to throw these away. There's no rescuing this cloth after you're done doing this. And let's see how we go. Pick this bit. Now the thicker chunks are going to probably stay behind. We'll have to hit them a couple of times. Woo! Lovely. So that's one of the spot weld holes. So where it's a little bit deeper, and a couple of the bigger chunks. A couple of the thicker chunks of tar haven't come off, but you can see that's literally just spray and wipe. Oh, I got a lot to do still. This part of the driver's side floor is just about done. Get rid of them. I just thought I would show you the difference between like 100% of this stuff off versus 99% of this stuff off. The first 80% comes off really quickly, and then it gradually gets harder and harder to get every last little tiny detail out. So if you check this out, this is 100%. There's a couple of little scratches from where I've hit it with the scraper, but not much. We've been pretty careful. This is glue. I'm actually going to leave that bit of mat because that holds these quite nicely here. And then over this side, this is like they're almost done. You can see things like the spot welds, because these welds are a little bit deeper, the tar's quite a bit thicker there. Just a tiny spot there, a little bit that escaped me under there. So it's getting those last couple of little bits, the little fiddly details, is probably about as time consuming as taking the bulk of it off in the first place. So, and I'm fussy. I'm a car detailer by trade, so I want to get all the details. And I think I've been watching way too much Sarah and Tuned lately. She is wicked fussy. This is a long time consuming job. This has probably been one of the more time consuming jobs of the whole build, actually, taking the sound deadening off the floor like this. other good thing about bloody truck.
If you like it, my version of a truck.
I'm recording. This is going in the bloopers reel.